What is happening, everybody? Welcome to a special episode of the Sports Card CEO, where we are going to recap Fanatics Fest in all of its glory. As Gary Bubba, the Bowman farmer, joins us from beautiful Mexico Beach, Florida.
That doesn't look like a farm.
Hey, you're the Bowman fisherman.
Thank you, Jacob Wilson.
Yeah, it might be a salmon farm there, but
It is. You're going to change your name to the Bowman fisherman.
man,
I love it.
I want to hear about Fanatics Fest because both you and Little Matt were there. So I want to, we have some questions for you, but I want to hear your guys' thoughts on the event itself because you weren't there last year, correct?
No, was not. And yeah, we had a good time, man. I would say, Matthew, what's your impression of New York?
I told my dad it's the only place where the smell of a cigarette is pleasant.
It fits right in.
Everywhere you go, it just smells. It smells like pee, and then it smells like marijuana, and then it smells like poop, and then it smells like one of those crusty food carts. It smells terrible.
That's New York. That's New York. And then you get an occasational whiff of a pretzel.
Kern just got hungry. He hadn't eaten breakfast yet. He's like, "You're right. It's time for breakfast."
I saw human feces on the ground in the subway.
You did?
Yeah.
Yes. And
I see it on the street outside here. Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
No joke. No. I see. I mean, you name it. What don't I see?
So all jokes aside, little Matt had a little bit of city shock when we got into the city, just taking in everything. Because he had gone when he was like 7. So once you get over that, we kind of got over to the west side at the Javits Center. I'll say this, venue standpoint, amazing. The Javits Center is awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, what an incredible, it felt like the National on steroids from a venue space. Like, it's the nicest venue I've ever been to a card show at.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. You know, multiple levels, escalators everywhere, an entire food court basically inside the arena, a Starbucks inside the arena.
Yeah, three Starbucks.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
And then, you know, Fanatics did a great job. There was a private lounge that, because of the kind folks at Fanatics, hooks us up with a badge. We got access.
Yeah. So I was going to ask. So you guys had like somewhat media access, correct?
So we had a pass, and here it is, and you see it. It was called an All-Star Pass. And an All-Star Pass was basically a partner of Fanatics. So like, I was in line with a guy who worked for ESPN, who produced their 30 for 30 shows. And we were just talking. And then we were in the lounge, and this boxer, like professional boxer, like came in, you know, and he had a whole crew with him and a big bodyguard. Made me nervous. But he was from Atlanta, Gary, actually. No, he was DC.
I'm from Athens, Ham. I'm not from Atlanta. I'm from Athens.
Yes,
I'm a Bowman farmer.
Forgive me for Athens. So, but anyway, yeah, it was not media access in the sense of like being able to go behind the ropes to give interviews. It was like a partner of Fanatics, and they definitely treated you right. We had no problems getting anywhere we needed to go. We got into the show a little bit early. It was really, really nice.
No, that's cool. So I was there last year. Obviously, I wasn't there this year. I was in Disney, but like, last year? I thought they did a great job for being able to put it on in like 3 months or so. Like, it was incredible. The one issue I had at the time, and I figured that they would probably fix it by this year, and I'm curious if they did, were the lines for certain things. Like, they didn't have that in order. Like, the lines were crazy long to do a lot of these things, and that stuff wasn't in order. Like, was it long lines to get food, drinks, things like that?
Yeah.
Still?
Yeah, so go ahead.
The Raising Cane's line. What they did is, with your ticket, you would get a free chicken tender from Raising Cane's. That line would go absurdly long. Also, y'all probably saw on Instagram, Big Matt with 14 score on the NBA Hot Shot. That line, we got in even early, and that line took us probably 45 minutes to go through.
Damn, that's longer. It's longer than my Fast Pass lines at Disney.
So did y'all get a free chicken tender every day?
Hey, we had the VIP lounge, so I didn't really need to use the chicken.
Bubba.
Well, I was about to say, Little Matt's, you turned 14 when? When did you turn 14?
I turned 15 in August.
Or 15 in August. So you just recently turned 15.
No,
he's turning 15.
No, he's turning
15.
Oh, okay, me turning 15. You're drinking lattes and eating sushi in New York City, and I'm going, what is Ham doing here? We've turned him into a full-fledged you're already like, and we've already got a bougie ham house member. What have we done here?
Yes, this is a problem, and I will tell you, is he's like, Dad, this is the coolest thing ever. I'm like, yes, and it's not real, Matthew. Like, this is not. We don't do this at home.
So where would you say, like, what did you guys do during the show? Were you walking around like 90% of the time? Like, what percentage of the time did you spend at the card portion area of that?
Pretty much the whole time, other than the one time I did the basketball thing. I didn't leave that card section. Even though there weren't deals going on, I mean, I saw crazy cards. I knew so many people there. I could just talk to them, and I was able to sell so many cards.
So let me give you my perspective on this. So back to your initial question. They divided the show into two spaces. The left-hand side was basically like their vendor partners. So like Happy Gilmore 2 and Netflix had a booth, FIFA, Dick's Sporting Goods, Nike, UFC, all of these massive brands had their own area where they would kind of promote whatever it is that
doing like activations of whatever they're trying to promote or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. And they had like a whole merch village. Like they literally made like a castle and like an entrance to a castle and made a whole merch village.
Yeah. So that was like one half of the show, and then it transitioned into this card space. Now people told us the card space was a lot bigger than last year's, and then at the back of the room, kind of behind the cards, is where they had the stage where like LeBron, and all of the celebrities did their, they did like WWE entrances with like John Cena and so forth. And then they had like a stage where they did live shows and stuff. But here's the thing. Little Matt would pace up and down every aisle of the card section, like just all day, just up and down and up and down and up and down and up and down. And at one point in time on Saturday, I was like, dude, we have to stop and we have to go back to the hotel. Because I was like, I can't go up and down these aisles anymore because there's 10 million people here and this is just not efficient or whatever. So we had to take a break. But I would say of the time at the show, Little Matt spent 90% of his time in the card section. And I did venture over to the other area, tried to do some connecting and stuff. And so I probably spent about 75% of my time there.
Well, one thing I'm curious of this because, Kern, you alluded to it. You went last year and I talked to you and talked to others that went. But everybody that went this year was like, holy crap. Like, I mean, it's like this thing was on steroids. So that's what I'm trying to understand. It became more of like almost a event that you could do cards with, right? And then so
Exactly.
the trade nights similar to that of the National? Were they better than that of the National? What do y'all feel like?
Trade night at the National, I mean, we've all been. It's always like packed. Like you have to squeeze through people. It's like,
yeah, you got to find your seat and like stay there.
Exactly. This trade night was like, it was in a huge room. So they had food for us. They had open tables. But when Jaden Daniels came on stage and they made that $500,000 deal with Roth Cards, I will say the whole place went like ballistic.
That was at trade night?
That was at trade night.
Really?
When was trade night? After like what time?
6 to 9.
6 to 9 on Saturday night.
And was that trade night at the Javits Center?
Yes, it was sponsored by Topps.
Okay.
And that was very well done. I mean, very well done. It was a sponsored trade night. They limited access based on numbers. And Jaden Daniels was there on stage with Ruben and Mahan and those guys. And it was very, very well done. And it felt like you kind of had access, you know what I mean, to that kind of thing.
What do you mean based on numbers? Like first come, first serve or what?
No, they wouldn't let people in. Like
it didn't matter on your badges at all.
Got it.
It reached capacity. Gary, back to your question about this. I told somebody it was like being at, like when I was a kid, they had like the Woodstock 94 and like Woodstock 99. And I remember being a kid looking at those things going like, this is nuts. It felt like being at Woodstock with celebrities and trying to look at card showcases.
Wow.
It was it was loud music, and then you'd get bumped and you'd turn around and there'd be like a film crew with like 4 bodyguards around like James Harden walking down the aisle.
Did they give any kind of preview of next year's? Did they talk about next year's at all? Or did they ask for any feedback about, hey, how are you liking this? Or was it Just kind of that was the end of the show.
This is how it was. They did do this. I would say the show was divided, so the main area of the show was on like the entry level floor, and then you could go underneath, and there was an entire studio down there that we never went to, and then all the autograph stuffs were down there as well. Yeah, but what I was going to say is they did put together this thing called the Museum of Greatness, and this was about a 300 million collection of true Grail memorabilia and cards that is by far the coolest aggregate collection of cards that I've ever seen in my life.
I was going to ask, what was your favorite part? Was it that? Like, what was the coolest part of the show? Or was it?
I mean, when we got to get into the Museum of Greatness at 8 a.m. on the first morning, that was like, it shocked me, but I'd probably say the Museum of Greatness. Wait, hold up.
I keep going.
I'd definitely say Museum of Greatness. I mean, it was just...
Did they let you hold the cards there or no?
No.
Okay.
They were all behind glass.
They were all behind, like, glass, and they were locked. But, I mean, like, example, like, they had the one-of-one Michael Jordan precious metal gem. And they had the LeBron logo man valued at $10 million.
They had values on there?
Yeah, they had values. And they had the Freddie Freeman Grand Slam Game 1 World Series ball.
That's cool.
The Freddie Meet Gibby.
Yeah. And they had, like, the best part of the whole thing, they had every single game-worn Tom Brady Super Bowl jersey. All 7.
That's cool.
Yeah, and so that first day we got there on purpose a little bit early, and we were standing outside and saw Mike Mahan and, introduced ourselves. I know you guys have both met him, and we had never met him in person, and he was super kind, and he said, y'all come check this out, and took us down, and we got to go to have the initial media experience through that Hall of Greatness. Where
That's
we
cool.
walked around, he talked about each piece. Like they had a Honus Wagner, the
They had the
T206.
Logan Paul Pokemon
Yeah,
card.
the Illustrator Logan Paul card. It was just really neat. But I'll tell you this, something that hit me. In that Museum of Greatness, they had an entire showcase dedicated to Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, LeBron James, Shohei Ohtani, and then there was one for Lionel Messi, Tom Brady, and then there was a vintage baseball section. And then there was an entire section dedicated to the one-of-one debut patches.
Missing one guy there. That's really cool, all that. They're missing one guy there. Tiger Woods.
Agreed.
Yeah.
There was no Tiger presence in that whole thing.
At all?
No, there wasn't a single card.
And again, I felt like that was, something when you talk about true GOATs, because they had a game-used Babe Ruth bat, which was sick. They had a game-used Mickey Mantle bat, which was sick. There was a judge section, like a modern baseball section. But that thing to me got me thinking. It was like when they have grails and they're displaying grails, look at who they're displaying.
Oh, they have one they have one for Lewis Hamilton.
Yeah, they did have a F1 area.
That whole area sounds amazing because, like, as sports fans and fanatics, like everybody there is, where else do you get to see stuff like that all in one place? I mean, you can go to Cooperstown, you can go to the Basketball Hall of Fame and see certain items, but like all of those items in one place it's just amazing to be able to see as a fan.
So, being a vintage, I love vintage baseball cards. They had unopened sealed wax. Come to find out, it was actually Nat Turner's personal collection.
That makes sense.
But they had unsealed or unopened wax, like a 1954 Bowman box.
Wow.
A 1933 Sport King pack.
That's amazing.
They had a 52 top. He has a collection of every single pack ever created.
Wow.
Crazy.
And then they had the true Gem Mint 10,
Hank PSA
Aaron,
10,
Ernie Banks, stuff like that. It was super cool.
So if you could, it sounds like it was a great experience and well done. But if you could, not to be negative, but if you could improve on one thing, you were sitting down with Fanatics and you could say, hey, these are the things that I would change or work on to improve for next year, what would those be?
You go first.
Yeah, so for me, feel like there needed to be a little bit more of an availability of education on when certain people were going to be there. And more of a schedule, almost like a posted schedule on the wall where you knew, hey, LeBron's going to be here at this time at this location. Instead, these people would just enter the arena in like incognito mode, and chaos would ensue. Like I was right in the arena when Dwight Howard got there, and it's like you almost get trampled because people start running to go see this person. If they had an entryway where like people could stand and the athletes would enter through that space, and they just kind of moved them around the arena however they wanted to, and nobody really knew. And so there are people that, like, Matthew really wanted to see Livy Dunn. He was like,
I
Dad,
know
I'm
that.
joking. No, I'm kidding. But seriously, like, if you'd have known, hey, so and so's gonna be here, here,
He said,
you
"I never said that." He was dreaming about it.
gotta bust the chops. That's what I would say. Is
Okay.
maybe a better handle on the schedule, and then also too, it felt like on Saturday they sold a ton of single day tickets, and there was just a bunch of random people there to be able to get a photo at a distance of LeBron. And it created an environment where I felt almost unsafe because of how crazy it was.
Yeah, I saw some videos online of when LeBron was there, and it looked like, I mean, I wouldn't want to be anywhere near there. It just looked so crowded.
Yeah. And that was
Yeah.
part of me, like, another thing I didn't like is the Fanatics games. I thought that was a super cool thing they implemented this year. Like, literally having fans compete against the greatest athletes in the world, but none of the athletes tried. Like, John Cena, when he's shooting the basketball, is like granny shotting it. And I want these athletes to try. Like,
Well, maybe he was just bad at basketball.
no. Like, he's literally, and
He was taking
You could
his
tell.
leg. He was taking his leg and using it like a putter when he was kicking the golf ball,
the soccer ball.
the soccer ball. Sorry, it was like it was
I
put
will-
on.
I wonder if he was doing that.
It
If
was
these guys,
WWE.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm
it's
saying,
all-
like, I want to see, like, how well, like, can that guy that finished number 3, can he actually compete with these crazy athletes? Like, I don't know. I felt like that was a part I didn't like. I feel like it was fake.
Yeah, Bubba, do you have a question?
No, I was just going to say, I mean, from talking to you guys kind of privately about the show and saying that there was a lack of Bowman presence again, because obviously we're a heavy baseball show here. I mean, one recommendation I have for Fanatics would be we have the sports card CEO corner there next year, and it's the Bowman Alley. And baseball, because
Bowman Alley.
yeah, we're in the heart of baseball season. And so with that being said, where, you know, we could do a live show there next year and really be engaged, because I just feel like the amount of people right now that are getting into Bowman is insane. And every show you go to, it's like this little corner now that you go there and everything else is dominating it. The modern basketball, the vintage. And then it's like everybody's looking for Bowman, but then it's like, well, there's nothing set up around it. And I just feel like a show, especially with Tops and Fanatics, you know, they are Bowman at this point. You know,
All right,
and I know Mahan's a huge fan of
So both mics, do you hear that? Fanatics,
Yeah.
we need a sports card CEO, Bowman Alley, next year at Fanatics Fest.
And
100%.
if listeners, if y'all like that idea, let's do it. Let's get it together. Let's have a huge baseball alley, because that's where it would be fun to really bring in prospects in that corner, bring in active players, baseball in that corner, and just, you know, talk baseball in that section.
Here's to your point there, and I was going to get here. I joke it shows that Bowman is the drug that nobody uses, because you walk around to dealers and you show them your Bowman and they're like, oh, I'm not really buying Bowman. And then they'll message you and go like, hey man, what are you going to do on the, you know what I mean? It's like, and there's no Bowman in the showcases because nobody wants to sell it. Everybody wants to sit on it.
Yeah, it's I tell you, to your point, you know, so little Matt, you know, you were sending me texts from the show floor, and Kern as well. And some of the cards that you were seeing there are cards that I've never seen publicly in a long time. Cards that I've been looking for, you know, cards that I've dreamed of the last several years. And then some guy walks into the show floor and he's got them in a briefcase and he's been hoarding them for the last 3.5, 4 years.
Yes.
And that, to me, to be honest, is the best thing that's going on for Bowman right now. The best thing that's going on for Bowman right now is, Kern, that your wall behind you is full of cards that right now are not for sale. The best thing that's going on for Bowman is that I've had a vault full of cards that I bought because when people want it, they can't readily go get it. When they wanted a Jacob Wilson this week, there wasn't any to be found, right? And the thing about modern football is you want to go get a Kaboom, there's 50 of them the next day popping up, you know, and it just feels like that's where Bowman has gotten strong, that the true Bowman collectors, they are the ones that are in the thick of it every single day. And then you've got all these other guys that want to get their hands in when they get hot. Well, guess what? You're going to pay the piper, baby. Because if you're going to be in Bowman, you got to be in Bowman, and you got to know where this stuff is. Because, I mean, all four of us, excuse me. I mean, we're doing this every day. I mean, we're looking for cards. We're looking for players. We're strategizing When these guys want to get in when somebody gets hot, at that point you're paying the piper to get there.
Yeah.
Bowman is the game that you have to be in early on and you have to do your work on or you're not getting in. And if you do get in late, it's funny, man. There was one guy there who literally had a showcase of Bryce Harper.
Like true orange 10, gold 10, like he probably had 12 to 15 true blues. It was absurd.
Yeah, it's interesting. You have to get in early. Like somebody was asking me yesterday, like, who are you looking for? Like, who do you like? And I'm thinking about it and I'm like obviously I'm buying. I'm not looking for anybody. All the guys that I like, I'm loaded up on. Like, I'm good. I'm good with Connor. I'm good with Walcott. I'm good with Escobar. I'm good with Eduardo Tait. I'm good with, Junior Caminero. I'm good with Jackson Shirt.
Never heard Luis Pena on that list.
I'm good with Luis Pena. Thank you, little Matt. No, like that. He's part of that. Like,
can you continue on? Say more names, please.
Yeah, I'm good with Tyson Lewis. Like, I'm good. Like I'll be opportunistic and I'll if stuff comes available, great. But like the point is that you have to get in early. Like if I start looking at Luis Pena right now, forget it. Forget it.
He's not popping up. To that point, there's something else that hit me. I have two thoughts. The one thing is at the Bowman section next year at Fanatics, they need to have a video screen where they have the top prospect rankings from each ranking thing so that a bystander could walk in and go, oh, Just Baseball or MLB Pipeline or Top 100. You know what I'm saying? Like they can see the rankings of the next guys. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like if yeah.
And understand why there's value in that card when you compare that to a Trout red, a Judge red, a Shohei orange, or what, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
To educate the public.
I think part of if there was a specific, let's just say hypothetically, we had the sports card CEO had that Bowman alley, right? I think to your point, Matt, like part of our job would be to educate and display and visualize as much as we can from whatever it might be, ranking standpoint, showing comparable players to how they've appreciated over time, and educate the everyday Bowman guy on why these cards are priced the way they are, what the ceilings are, and what the floors are, and educate, you know what I mean? Like, even if there weren't sales going on there, it's really more just, it could be conversation about people that are interested in prospecting and interested in the Bowman world, and picking our brains and whoever else's brains that are there, that we have there, that are interested in getting into space. Because Bowman is very niche, it's not for everybody. But a lot of people, I think, are probably hesitant to get in because it does require a lot of education, self-education. And unfortunately, a lot of people are learning by mistake too. And that's going to happen. That's part of learning. But I think, a better job could be done by us or whoever else educating in that space, in that that niche market.
Well, Gary, you got something?
Yeah, well, 100%. I mean, I think I saw a post by Alt, I think it was yesterday, and it was like, who are you buying right now? Who are you selling? Who are you holding? And they showed three names: Gunnar Henderson, Corbin Carroll, and Ellie De La Cruz. And it's like, we're talking about three guys that's already
their
been
markets have
determined.
passed. Yeah.
Right. I mean, yeah, it doesn't mean, we talked about Ellie the other day. It doesn't mean you still can't buy Ellie. Or, oh, I get it, Gunner's been hot lately. Or, oh, Corbin's Corbin, but at this point, like, that needs to be understood. But people don't understand. When I don't ever look at comments generally, but I looked at the comments yesterday and people just don't understand. Well, I'm buying Gunner because he's batting 320 right now. Or I'm buying Ellie because, it's to me, I think 100% it's got to be like, it doesn't mean that you can't buy Gunnar Henderson. It doesn't mean that you can't buy Corbin Carroll, but you got to have a plan. Like we've been taught, there has to be a plan, because when you buy these guys in the middle of the season, I feel sorry. I really feel sorry genuinely for people that come into Bowman and don't have an education, because I was that guy. It's like walking to a poker table and everybody's got the chips and you got one chip, and you think you're going to go in there and play with those guys. You're not. And unfortunately, fortunately, we are those guys now. But part of what this show is to help everybody become those guys, because it's better for the hobby that people are successful.
1,000%. What happens is, and this is one thing I was going to mention too, I did see a couple showcases full of Ethan Salas.
Ooh.
Full, you know what I mean? And it's guys that had passed. And it's like, you're never going to move that card. You're not. You know what I mean? Because you missed the window. And that's the nature of Bowman. And that's why you can't just be in one guy. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Because he was a top draft pick. Go ahead.
Another thing is, this is a big thing for me, is my take on the show floor, because like you said, I'm spending so much time on the show floor. What I noticed, there was so many buying stations set up. Like 20, probably 25 out of 250 tables had a big buying station sign. And it was like, well, go ahead, Karen.
No, I was going to ask, was it repackers buying mostly, do you think?
It was the people that sell to the repackers.
Got it.
The repackers would be hounded if they had a buying station because they pay so strong. But these were the people that sell to the repackers. And there were so many buying stations, but in their cases, they had cards that weren't for sale because they're selling to the repackers. So that already takes out those cards. There was so much of these cards. Jordan, Kobe inserts, and 86 Fleer Jordans. There were so many of them. I would say probably and at the shows, you might get one table at the National that has all that stuff. And there were 25 to 30 of them here.
Did you guys get to meet anybody that you hadn't met in person that you've met over Instagram or anything like that?
Yeah, a couple. There was a couple people we really wanted to meet up with. Like one of the guys, I can't think of his first name right now, but he had the Andrew Painter Superfractor. Steven.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we had actually messaged with him a couple years ago when he hit that card, and he was there, and we just missed each other. And then, we got to meet through some of our guys, our buddies at Alt, Nick Tucker and them. We got to see some of those guys and met some people through them. We did meet, the guys at Valor and some of those guys you just kind of know in the space. Just guys like that. But
I heard Little Matt and Valor are best friends now.
Yeah, buddies.
Yeah,
buddies.
I didn't talk to him. That's all Big Matt.
But I will say this: one of the things that's interesting too about the Bowman thing, guys, is everybody's terrified because there's no comps.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
They don't want to get in the game
for
because
everyone,
there's no comp.
It's all a comp game.
When
for everyone.
Yeah.
And you're missing out. If you're playing Bowman based on a comp game, you're going to lose because people are holding it. And that brings up the last point I wanted to make about that whole kind of little segue there is these reds to 5 and these 25 oranges or whatever, dude, you control the market.
Yeah.
You do. When you go downstairs in the Hall of Greatness, they don't have a base auto of freaking Aaron Judge down there. You know what I mean? They've got the low population parallels. So when you get into that market space that you guys are in, that certainly we dabble in a little bit, you are dealing with the cream of the crop. And, Kern being the superfractor guy, that's where you have, the ability to kind of do what you want to when you have the card of the guy when he pops.
Exactly. One of the reasons I've said before that I've gotten into one-of-ones is to be able to determine that market. I mean, to an extent, if you want to be realistic and be able to eventually move them, but I hated the comp game. And next week I'll tell you guys a funny story. I probably won't be able to not share it between now and then between you guys because I want to send you something, but I had a funny conversation with somebody who was interested in the George Lombard Super. I had a very funny conversation with somebody. I'm going to have to share it with you after this.
I would love to hear it. Bubba, you got something on your mind?
Well, yeah, just two other thoughts. Number one, I think there's a really big need, and y'all talked about it. I mean, even for myself, when you know to sell, right? You've got guys you've been collecting and you've been, like you talked about, Ethan Salas. Is Ethan Salas dead, right? He's dead right now, right? And so, but is it truly time, if you're in XYZ for him, do you take 20% and you roll on? And I think there's a real need for us to come together and try to come with RM and come up with something that kind of helps everybody. Because I have that same question in my own collection at times of what do you do? Do you take the measly 20% and move on? But the second thought is, and I saw this pop up after the Jaden Daniels thing at Fanatics Fest, and I think this is important to say, that when something like that happens, like the Skeens debut patch, just like what happened with Jaden Daniels, it drives massive attention to the hobby, but it also drives massive attention to that player. And there's people that are going online and saying, there's that's not going to increase Daniels' market. That's baloney. I mean, there's no way that it doesn't affect the market because it's top of mind right now. And to your point, Matt, when a big red sale happens or a big orange sale happens or a big one-of-one sale happens, it does affect the 499s. It does affect the blues.
Trickle down effect, yep.
Everything down. And so we always want to talk not only to the super high-end collector, but to the guy, if you're on the right guys that are not out there, just like the problem I feel like that happened with Jackson Holiday was he got overloaded. You know, there was one period of time where not everybody was selling Jackson Holiday. That's when his prices went crazy. When his stuff was readily available, his prices went down ASAP. And that to me is the key to how you hold values in this thing is it's scarcity.
Yep. So, supply and demand.
100%.
So it's super. Go ahead.
One more thing I will say is going there, because I haven't been to a big show in a while, just makes me feel more confident with the Bowman I am holding, because I didn't see a Leo Gold there. I didn't see a Pena Gold there. And even there's a guy walking around. He had two James Wood Reds. Like the fact he's had those cards, he's been sitting on them for 4 years. Like that or 3 years. That just makes me think there's literally only 3 Reds available in the market, and I don't know how many, Gary, you have, but I mean there might only be one available left on the market if you have 2 of them or whatever.
Yeah, yep. Me and that guy need to become friends, by the way.
But it's interesting, dude. Like that guy, we talked to him at length. He's a fantasy baseball guy. He's always loved fantasy baseball, and he started buying the cards
on Golden.
Of the fantasy baseball players when they came available, and he's held them for 3 or 4 years. And there are lots of guys like that out there in the marketplace. What drives Bowman? You know what I mean? And it truly makes you understand the delineation of the different verticals within the hobby. And the Bowman game is a very, as you said, Kern, niche game. And it's wild because it is a thriving part of this hobby right now.
I love it. And I love it.
But I would say, Fanatics Fest is, along with the national, premier sports card event in the country. It might not be the best venue to make deals, but as far as experience is concerned, it's truly phenomenal.
Experience and entertainment, it sounds like, yeah.
Kern, you need to go ahead and get Ham and I somewhere set up for next year right now. Go ahead and find us a nice spot up there.
I'm on it. I'll take a walk over there right now.
Next year, I'm going to find your couch. So I'm going to go coming out of the door.
Yeah, you'll be a little safer, in a safer space there.
So, but guys, I really appreciate you guys helping make the connection, with the guys at Fanatics to get us the pass. We're super grateful to Fanatics for their generosity to treat us well when we were there. Certainly for putting on a great event. I think we've got a lot of good things down the road with that relationship. But anyway, yeah, that's the Fanatics recap from Ham House and Sports Card CEOs from the show floor. And yeah, boys, I think that, as I told you both, with the energy of the show, with the listenership of the show, here's what I love. I'll say this in closing. There's people that came up to me at the show and they go, dude, you got to tell Kern to take those cards off his wall behind him. He's ruining the autos. He's ruining the autos, you know what I mean? And I'm like, when you've got people coming up, he's like, dude, what are they doing? What are Kern? I'm like, I love it. I love it. It's great. Because I'll tell you later. No, I'm kidding. It's just, but people, I love it, man. I love the opinions.
Yeah.
What he does, guys, when the show's over, he puts a black blanket over him, so no light touches him other than the show.
I got a whole zip thing that goes over it. And this is just for show. So it's for the show, I should say.
Continue to give us feedback, folks, and let us know what it is you got questions on. And for us to be that cornerstone educational piece and talk about the things we love in the hobby, that's why we did this, and that's why we continue to do it.
Thank you for the recap, Ham House boys.
Yeah, appreciate you guys. Everybody, thanks for listening. You boys have a great week, and we'll catch you up next time on the Sports Card CEO.